All right, my loves. Day 19 of the God Wants to Talk to You challenge. And what's my hair doing? All right. We're reading first, and then we contemplate, and then we read again. And today, actually, something happens, which I'm glad it did, so I can talk about it. I started writing, and I felt this want for something, profound to come through, which sometimes happens. I relax in my writing and amazing things come through, and then my mind gets involved and it's like, oh my God, this is amazing. I want more of that. And then I sit and I want more of that. And then the channel actually closes. And then I sit and I wait and hope that it would, it opens again, but then I'm distracted and it's not flowing. So I started writing and then I realized, well, that's not gonna work. And and then the trick that I have realized works best for me, is to find something true and to name it, to really come into this moment right here, right now, and find something true, regardless of how minor it seems. It's never minor. Truth is never minor, regardless of how petty or unevolved or whatever it seems. It never is. The truth is always important because that's what we're moving from. That's where we're building from. And to lean out of the moment, to grasp for something while not acknowledging, loving the moment, takes away our power. Because the only place where we can create is the place where we are. And that is the moment. That is the truth of the moment. And so landing there, starting from there, naming something that is true is the way to create something, then again, magical and profound. And oh, wonder, oh, wonder. In doing that, I actually brought something through. Well, I allowed something to come through. That's the better way to put it, because those are not my words. All right. So I'm leaving the first part out because we never got anywhere with that. It might, drop some time later in another letter, but for now, I am going to read the part that actually came from the moment. So, dear God, sometimes I have trouble seeing where all of this is leading. My love, your job is not to see the future and all the ways things will play out. Your job is to see the moment, to see the beauty, to love what is right before you. Nothing else, really. Trust me, my love. I can see the big picture, but I would never burden you with all of this. You came here to experience life, not to make sense of it. Trust me fully and give yourself to the moment. My light pulls you where you're meant to go. The more you embrace the moment in absolute trust that this is a perfect piece of a perfect puzzle, the easier it is for me to bring you where you're meant to go. Deep trust, gentle movement, and great enjoyment of what is. That is what I need from you. That is how I can move you best. My love, when you doubt, you are zoomed into a moment so deeply that you cannot feel the magic that dwells inside of it anymore. You look with two sharp eyes. Reality changes depending on how you look at it. Sharp eyes are doubtful eyes. The magic appears when you zoom out, my love. When you look at the moment, at your life, at yourself with soft, trusting eyes. I know the magic. I am the magic. So all I see is magic. I want you to see it too. So trust me, my love. Breathe and soften. And let me look through your eyes. I will show you the magic that is your life. I will show you the magic that is you. All my love and all my magic, God. Right? Yeah. So, two things that I want to speak to. One, quantum physics. Reality changes as we look at it. And that is something extremely powerful. And it goes further than like, okay, so when I'm, in the right energy, then with time, the reality that's going to be pulled into my field is also going to match this energy of mine. That is right, that is correct. And I think it goes even further than that. In the moment of me looking at something, the thing changes. So for example, it's probably a good example because there's a crystal in here. Got my water bottle, and the water in itself is probably also a great um, example because water is alive. And so it's easier for us to understand, but everything is alive. A thought is alive. A stone is alive. Obviously, this is a stone in here. A concept is alive. The future, like future opportunities are alive. This is all alive. It's all energy. It's all here. Only in our 3D world, it is lined up in on linear time, but it's all like in the quantum field, it's all here now, available for us to touch it, meaning touch it energetically. So we've got the water bottle here, and we got a crystal inside of it. And depending on how I look at this water, it changes its quality. That's in the moment now. Like if me holding this and talking about the magic of it is activating the magic inside of it even more than it was there before. And it's also known that when we drink water, we can set an intention, we can speak an intention into the water. And then whatever intention we speak into the water is going to come into our body. Same with our social media posts, with any message that we send out into the world, with any word we speak into a room. The intention we put behind it, the energy that we awaken inside of us as we're doing the thing, as we press post, as we speak something to our loved ones or to a room full of clients, The energy that I am in when I drink the water influences the thing. The energy that I'm in when I do the thing, the intention behind it influences the thing, influences the outcome of the thing too. So, what came through here, when we begin to question and to doubt, that's when we zoom in. We're like, okay, so I really want to, understand what's going on here. I want to really, really know where this is going. I really must know now. This is us zooming in and looking with really sharp eyes. And not only sharp eyes, like looking closely, but also the doubt is creeping in, because if there was no doubt, we would not ask those questions. If we were really fully opened to a bigger force holding us, deeply trusting, being in full faith, then we would not ask those questions. And also, if we allowed ourselves to be in full faith, then all of a sudden, our eyes would soften, our gaze would soften. And then it says, the magic appears when you soften your gaze, when you zoom out. And so now, if this is the principle that applies here, and we know that God is all the way zoomed out, well, then no wonder all he sees is magic. And no wonder all there is in truth is magic. And so reality is what we experience. There is no objective reality, which says that yes, God is all the way out there seeing magic everywhere. But still, I decide how much of this magic I get to feel. And I decide that in my way of looking at what is, at the moment, at the world, at my business, at everything. So, because it is up to me how I look at things, it is also up to me how I perceive reality. And then it's up to me in what reality I live. So, again, we come back to how can we be more like the creator? How can we look at the world like God would look at the world? One thing that started to come through a couple months ago, half a year ago-ish, and it was two lines, and they were always repeating, until we see what God wants us to see, until we see what God sees. And so our job is to look at the moment and to choose to have nothing but appreciation and trust that this moment is leading us exactly where we're meant to go. And to leave the arranging of the future, leave that to God. He knows so much more than we do. It would be so weird. It's like, okay, so I've got my 3-year-old toddler, and then I got me. And as a group, the two of us, we it's our job to what? Finish this puzzle. Not a great That's not a great or fun image, but to finish this puzzle, what's the smartest thing to do? Let's put the 3-year-old in charge. What's the smartest thing he could do if he really was interested in the greatest outcome? To leave it up to the adult to take part, to participate, to, also find a piece, perhaps like a corner piece, and then to put it there, but that let the adult help and not never worry about finishing or having a plan for that matter. The job of the 3-year-old is to enjoy the puzzling, experience frustration perhaps sometimes, but not to get caught up in that. Enjoy the process, enjoy the moment, but know that the adult in the room has the plan and sees the bigger picture and will make sure that everything will get done. So that was the first part that I wanted to speak to. Or did I just speak to both? Which was the second one? It was the sharp eyes one. Yeah, that the second one was the until we see what God sees. Until we see what God wants us to see. Until we see what God sees. Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, this is another piece which actually kind of baffled me, and I was a little, you know, was I disappointed or something when I really understood that it's not my job to understand life, but to experience it. I got sent here with a real great mind. And I love to think also it was instilled inside of me growing up the way I did. That intelligence is a huge value for me. And so now I'm living on my life for 30 years like that. And then I get told, well, actually, you are supposed to transcend that, to leave that behind you. And the wisdom and brilliance you will find in your heart will far surpass everything that your mind ever does and did. So I was like, how dare you say that to me? Well, it's true. And as I am landing in my heart and begin to really feel the truth of that, there's no comparison. And like, okay, so is the heart really smarter than the mind? That's not even a question anymore. And that is what has changed for me. It's not about metrics anymore. It's just about the pure joy and pleasure of experiencing itself. The fact that I get to experience being a human being, that's the only relevant thing anymore. And then another thing, so funny, but oh well. When I really began to open to God and to receive his guidance and his wisdom, my mind quickly saw that the mind of God is way bigger than my mind. And I remember when it first dawned on me, I was like, wait, what? That's how inflated my ego was regarding to my mind. It's lovely. My mind is lovely. Thinking that, being surprised by that. That is very lovely. And yeah, so now I realize that my mind has understood that the mind of God is huge, way bigger than itself. And I begin to see that I have not even the clue, not even a clue of how big it actually is. Yeah. Oh well. Oh well. Oh well. Oh well. I still love to contemplate the mind of God. Let's see if this will ever change. Probably doesn't have to change. It just doesn't have, it just cannot mean anything. That is probably the secret. I can contemplate everything and anything, but it cannot have any weight, cannot have mm, any any meaning that I attach to it, any like relevance for my life, basically. And if it doesn't, then I'm allowed to contemplate whatever I want. All right. Reread one more time. Dear God, sometimes I have trouble seeing where all of this is leading. My love, your job is not to see the future and all the ways things will play out. Your job is to see the moment, to see the beauty, to love what is right before you. Nothing else, really. Trust me, my love. I can see the big picture, but I would never burden you with it. You came here to experience life, not to make sense of it. Trust me fully and give yourself to the moment. My light pulls you where you're meant to go. The more you embrace the moment in absolute trust that it is a perfect piece of a perfect puzzle, the easier it is for me to bring you where you're meant to go. Deep trust, gentle movement, and great enjoyment of what is. That is what I need from you. That is how I can move you best. My love, when you doubt, you are zoomed into a moment so deeply that you cannot feel the magic that dwells inside of it anymore. You look with too sharp eyes. Reality changes depending on how you look at it. Sharp eyes are doubtful eyes. The magic appears when you zoom out, my love. When you look at the moment, at your life, at yourself with soft, trusting eyes. I know the magic. I am the magic. So all I see is magic. I want you to see it too. So trust me, my love. Breathe and soften, and let me look through your eyes. I will show you the magic that is your life. I will show you the magic that is you. all my love, and all my magic, God. Hmm. All right, my loves, this is it. Day 19. I love you, and I'll see you tomorrow.